Hey guys, okay, so today is my second and final video on DNA in the Sands of Time by J Justice, and I'm not going to be doing a 4K video again because that took way too long. So that's the book. And I just finished reading it today and I was so excited to show you guys like a lot of the stuff that I loved, but also there's not enough time to cover everything that I want to cover. And there's also so many things that I have to be careful about sharing because you'll see why. But overall, I think the book was amazing, and you really have to have an open mind to read it. A lot of stuff is going to be controversial to stuff that you might already believe, but this is why you have to have an open mind. So as I do all my other videos, I have my notes on my phone, and I just read off literally from the book the stuff that I found interesting, and I might give commentary on the stuff that I liked or not. So please understand that it's important to grow spiritually. I know you're comfortable in your own belief system, but that's going to prevent you from growing spiritually. So people say things like, oh, I'm scared to learn about, you know, this kind of stuff, or dive deep into it because it's a door I don't want to open or whatever. You're not like summoning a demon, okay? Where you don't want to do anything that's like low vibrational like that, but the way to spiritually evolve is to find knowledge that is either universal truth or hidden knowledge that is universal truth that's been kept in hiding from us so that we don't evolve. And the more you continue learning knowledge of truth, the higher your vibration will become and the higher your DNA strands will be too. This doesn't mean be stuck to conspiracies and government stuff because that's like all low vibrational, but it is very important to be aware of those things, but just not sucked into it. And there's a huge difference. Also, becoming a master of your emotions, showing love for others and yourself, and forgiving others will definitely help you exponentially growing spiritually. This must be a daily practice though, the emotion mastering. I'm going to do another video later on the easiest way to ascend, like it says in the book. I'm not going to mention it in this video, but it's enough information to be its own video. So I'm going to start with this. Truth. This word has caused many wars and chaos all throughout human history. What is truth to one person is not truth to another. Truth is absolutely different to one person. For every living person on this planet, your truth is based on your belief system. Your beliefs are mostly formed by the environment you grow up in. In other words, you are a product of your environment. The fact is, there is no truth on a third dimensional level, since the third dimension is a place where you are learning about truth. The closest you can come to truth on this level is the shadow of truth. Realize that your truth is based on 3 elements. It starts with the amount and type of knowledge that you have. From this knowledge, you will gain an understanding of what it means. From the understanding of your knowledge, you will gain wisdom. The amount of wisdom you gain becomes your truth, and as you gain more knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, your truth will change accordingly. Your truth will constantly change all throughout your life. In the same way, truth will change for every person on this planet. If your truth does not change throughout your life, you're probably not growing spiritually and not growing in knowledge or understanding. So in other words, the one thing that should be constant in your life is change. Your life should be constantly changing, and this includes your belief system. Truth can never be found without change. So anger is becoming one of the leading hidden causes of incurable cancer in the world today. The vibration of anger is magnified as the Earth enters completely into the photon belt. The process of this form of cancer caused by the vibration of anger started to manifest in the year 1938, when the Earth started entering the outer vibrations of the photon belt. It has been increasing steadily every year since. When the Earth actually started entering the photon belt in 1987, the rate of cancer caused from the vibration of anger greatly increased. It will continue to increase to the point of manifesting cancer at a continuously climbing higher rate. The vibration of anger and hate will enter whatever is the weakest point of your body and will manifest cancer starting in that weak part. When this type of cancer manifests in a body, the disease will also progress much faster. This type of cancer is not curable by modern medicine. And remember, anger is karmic. These emotions of anger and hate must be removed before the cancer can be cured. It will soon be discovered that removing anger and hate will bring on many miracles, miraculous healings from cancer if there are no other like complicating factors. I'm only going to share this next sentence because I have to be really careful. So I'm just going to say this. What is not known is that cancer is not a true disease. Just going to leave it at that. The rest of this is on page 295 if you ever get the book. And 296. Yeah, I originally wanted to share those because they're really important, but I don't want to get like murdered. Okay, so do you remember the main traits that separate the sons of darkness from the sons of light? The sons of darkness are self-serving. The sons of light serve others. So where do you fit in this picture? Who do you serve? Sons of darkness are individuals, male and female, who are self-serving. They are ego-driven to control and possess for their own self-satisfaction and power. Their goals and desires in life come before everyone else. There are those who seek wealth and positions of power to control and dominate others. This happens on all levels of society, from the individual up through the family, all the way up into positions of leadership, authority, and power. The sons of light are individuals, male and female, who are here to serve others. Their main goal is service to others. They may serve others publicly or be completely hidden from the public eye. It is the true intent of the heart to serve that makes one a son of light. Remember, the word son is an ancient expression that includes all humans, male and female. In this third dimensional reality, you are given opportunities and countless ways to practice love and compassion. That's what all the ups and downs in life are. That's what all the good and bad things that happen to you are. That's what all the diseases, poverty, catastrophes, and every single event in your life are for. They are lessons and opportunities to practice love, compassion, caring, gentleness, kindness, harmlessness, and unconditional forgiveness. You were given the law of love, which is love one another as I have loved you. It can also be stated as do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or love thy neighbor as thyself, or love everyone as you love yourself, or love others as they wish to be loved. They all mean the exact same thing. This law has been given by countless master teachers of the order of Melchizedek. They have come to this planet in every nationality and on every continent of this world. Some of these master teachers were made into gods by human adoration and devotion, which then evolved into major world religions. The many master teachers did their work silently without being noticed by the public. So for those who are ready and preparing to make the ascension to the next dimensional level or beyond, the only lessons that you'll be experiencing are lessons to make you aware of emotions that you must clear and release. So when you do this, all the karma that is attached to them is also cleared and released. As long as you do not recreate any new karma of the same kind, you won't be tested on that lesson again And be aware, since we are at the end of this age, karma is now coming back quickly. So for those on a spiritual path, it is coming back very quickly, sometimes within hours, days, or weeks, which is a blessing because it makes you aware of the emotions that you need to recognize and deal with. So for others that are not on a spiritual path, that karma will most likely trickle down and collect for the next lifetime. And I feel like I can prove this in my life experience. I don't know, I'll like say something or like think something bad for whatever reason, maybe about someone or something, and then something like will happen, like, I don't know, like I'll hurt my finger or something small, right? Very soon after, and I'm like, oh my god, like that was really fast, and I already know what it is. But yeah, so realize that every emotion has an opposite emotion. Remember that this is a world of duality, which means that everything has an opposite. You can see duality, polarity. It is time for you to recognize the opposites of all emotions by becoming your own private investigator of all your emotions. No one else is going to help you. It's your lessons. You have to figure it out all on your own, and that's how you learn. Once you recognize the emotions that chose bad karma, then find the opposite, you will then realize that you have a choice. Now you can choose to change the way you act toward all people by using emotions that create good karma. That's how you become a master of your emotions. Realize that the emotions that you cannot control, the ones that keep repeating themselves, those are the biggest ones that create bad karma. They are the ones that you are here for in this lifetime to recognize, to work on, and change. These are your greatest emotional challenges that you need to recognize now. Remember, planet Earth is a school where you are learning about emotions. When you recognize the emotions, the feelings, and situations that are causing your problems, those you are struggling with, stop. Then you say these words out loud. This is only a test, this is only a test, this is only a test. When you hear these words within your ears, you will begin to come to a new realization of why you are struggling with these emotions. Do this often and you'll be able to view these emotions from a totally different perspective. It will begin to change your attitude about life with its many trials and challenges, and realize that your daily life is the test, and every person and every event and situation in your life is part of that test. The test begins the moment you're born, and it's over the moment your spirit separates from your body. Everything that happens between your birth and your death is the test, and the test is the continuous choices that you make every day. Okay, so the book states that the Garden of Eden was actually created by the Nephilim, which is not surprising. The garden was supposedly 75 to 100 feet above the earth using the science of levitation. It was an octave higher than the Nephilim were, so it was operating at the 3rd dimension in the 11th octave. And because of that, it was invisible to humans who were down on the earth. And this also kept insects and bugs away from the genetically modified plants that the Nephilim made. It also had no shape or size. It explains it as you being able to easily get lost in it because of the way it works. It's like this. So imagine you're inside like a giant ball, and every time you walk, you're always walking on the flat side of the ball. You'll never not be walking on the flat side of the ball, if that makes sense. So obviously the Garden of Eden was not destroyed by the flood because it was above the ground, which means it's still there in the same location it was 350,000 years ago. The thing is, it's being protected by a strong magnetic field, but the book says that humans nowadays have the potential to actually find it. Okay, so we have introduced you to the unknown ability the Nephilim had as a result of their knowledge and higher ability of the science of levitation. Now we will add to this information. There's a famous landmark on the planet located on the west bank of the Nile River called the Great Pyramid of Giza, also called the Great Pyramid of Cheops. It's Cheops. I don't know how to say it. Cheops, Great Pyramid of Cheops, I'm not sure. And it's called one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The Egyptians claimed this pyramid as a burial tomb, and there is great controversy over this claim. So now we're going to go to the Akashic records to find the actual truth about this pyramid. So the Great Pyramid of Giza was not built by the Egyptians. It is not a burial tomb, and it never was. The pyramid was built by the Nephilim just after the flood of Noah. So the actual reason the pyramid was built was for the purpose of celestial navigation. So before the flood, the Nephilim had built structures for deep space navigation, and all these structures were destroyed during the flood. Also, the physical locations of their original navigational aids changed since the world tilted 90 degrees from its original position. So these locations were now no longer useful. It was necessary to build new navigational aids at new proper locations. The Great Pyramid of Giza is a deep space observatory built by the Nephilim using the science of levitation, and it was built to last by covering it with its limestone covering. At the top of the pyramid is a very large one-piece emerald capstone. The capstone was an exceptionally large rare stone from the planet Nibiru, and it served as a beacon and communication device. The Nephilim eventually removed this rare emerald stone, taking it with them. The Nephilim constructed another navigational aid, and today it is called the Monument at Stonehenge. It is a megalithic circle on the Salisbury Plain in southern England. Approximately 70 miles down into the earth and deeper are many emerald stones permanently placed there by the Nephilim to activate the site for communications. So the stones were precisely set into the earth in a uniform circular formation larger in diameter than the megalithic circular structure on the planet's surface. You could describe the emerald stone as being set in a symmetrical formation. Both of these structures were built at the necessary specific locations for deep space navigation. They are stationary reference points, and they were necessary for deep space navigation. Know that both the Great Pyramid of Giza and the Monument at Stonehenge were built with the higher ability the Nephilim possessed about the science of levitation. This knowledge gave them the ability to quickly and accurately assemble these navigational aids before they left the planet after Noah's flood. Both these navigational aids were completed approximately 150 years after Noah's flood. This makes these two structures approximately 12,800 years old. And if you were to Google it, which I did, if you were to Google like the Great Pyramid, how old it is, it says it's like 4,000 years. So that's wrong. So in Egypt, there is a huge stone statue having a lion's body and a head described as the head of a man, or possibly a ram or a hawk. It is assumed the Sphinx is somehow related to the Great Pyramid. So we now go to the Akashic records to learn about the Sphinx. The Sphinx was not built by the Egyptians, and it was not built by the Nephilim either. It was built by a group we have previously talked about, and they are the Ascended Masters that were in the Sons of Light. At the time of Noah's flood, they came down from fourth dimension to third dimension to bring knowledge to humans and to help them to start to re-evolve back up to the fourth dimension in the future. The Ascended Masters brought fourth dimensional knowledge and to help educate humans and jumpstart their evolution. After the flood, the Ascended Masters kept a low profile and didn't interact with humans until after the Nephilim had completed their new navigational aids and left the planet. So they then waited a period of time until the Nephilim were definitely on their way to Sirius and knew that they would not be coming back for a long time. Approximately 500 years after Noah's flood, the Ascended Masters started the construction of the Sphinx in the area today known as Giza. The true and hidden purpose of the Sphinx is not what humans think. So it's a vast storehouse of information about the humans' past, extensive information about Atlantis and the past of those who fell from fourth dimension, and a wealth of information about the spiritual realm. All this information was stored under the Sphinx in hidden rooms for use at the end of this age, and it would be retrieved if it was needed and consciousness was evolved to the proper level. So in the last several years, secret passages under the Sphinx were discovered that led to underground rooms. When they were opened, humans entered them, and to their surprise and their disappointment, the rooms looked basically empty to human eyes. Know that all the information is psychically stored in these rooms. Entering into the room is the key way that will allow the psychically tuned person to access the information. This has already been done, and a portion of the information has already been accessed, but there is still much more information that can be accessed in the immediate future. Okay. So it is time for scientists and archaeologists to pull the plug on carbon-14 dating and all the dates they have established by using this method and all other dating processes. Many already know that the process of dating that they use now is completely flawed. It's a public secret among scientists and archaeologists, although no one will publicly admit it. The entire human history has been misinterpreted, misrepresented, and misunderstood as a direct result of using these dating processes. It is now altering your future in a negative way without you realizing it's happening. So there's so much that it talked about that, and how they're measuring like the isotopes and stuff. It's like completely off, because it's not a constant thing, it's a changing thing. But it's just a lot. It's in the book. So also, there was no singular Big Bang. There are many small bangs constantly occurring in every physical universe that's ever created. This is part of the continuous process of constant change, creation, and recreation, and this is how the universe constantly evolves. So you must remember that the measure of a year changed after Noah's flood, and your year measurement is only accurate according to your current way of calculating a year. So this means your current year measurement is only accurate for the last 12,952 years. The measurement of a year was different before Noah's flood. The year measurement also changed dramatically 5.5 million years ago, and dating by years beyond this point is totally different. It changed again 36 million years ago. So to be accurate, everything in this past beyond each of these 3 points would have to be given in Sanskrit or another universal language that humans have no knowledge of. This information is given just so that you understand that the timelines and dating you know of are all wrong. The records of Earth's history is contained within the DNA of whales. Whales are the living records of this planet's unknown ancient history. Someday humans will have the ability to access this knowledge. This was also the time of the large animals such as the dinosaurs and others. And as big as the Earth was, there was room for everyone. All large animals were vegetarians. You have all labeled a large animal called a T-Rex as a killer and a meat eater. There were no killer animals or killer meat eaters roaming the Earth during this extensive time period, and T-Rex was not a vicious killer as humans describe it today. I didn't mention it on my notes, but I will mention it now. It says that T-Rexes were the cleaners of Mother Earth. So I guess if they were like dead dinosaur carcasses, they would eat that. So yeah, it's during this time period that 5 different humanoid races evolved and eventually ascended from the 3rd dimension. This existed for a great many eons of time. This was all before the Lucifer rebellions 18 million years ago. And the book goes on to say that roughly 36 million years ago, an asteroid about 400 miles in diameter did hit the Earth, and the Earth collapsed on itself, which made it shrink to less than half its physical size that it was at that time. So the planet at that point now became a water planet, since it was now 97% water. And also, side note, there is no connection between the race of Homo erectus, which is the Bigfoot beings, and the Neanderthal race. There's no connection between Homo erectus and Neanderthals. They are two completely different races. This is recorded in the Akashic records. The Neanderthal race was also extinct before the Nephilim even set foot on this planet, which was 400,000 years ago. So they were already extinct by then. And for your information, there are 23 different races combined that make up the human race. Out of these 23, 19 of them came from Atlantis and the fourth dimension. Okay, so there are 38 planets that are inhabited by humanoids in this Milky Way Galaxy as of 2006 when this book was published. So there's probably a lot more now. The life on these planets exists in 3 to 6 dimensional levels. What I meant by that is they exist from 3rd dimension, 4th, 5th to 6th. So out of the 38, 17 planets have abundant humanoid life in the 3rd dimension. In the Milky Way Galaxy, there are 137 individual races of humanoids living permanently here. There are 14 races of humanoids that travel in and out of the galaxy, and they have homes here and in other galaxies as well. That makes a total of 151 races that reside in the Milky Way Galaxy. So the question is, why have they not been seen by human eyes? The answer is they have been seen by human eyes. The world just does not believe the people that have seen them. The reason there's no communication with these worlds is because we are still an ongoing experiment, so we're isolated from the rest of the Milky Way Galaxy. The experiment will not end until the coming pole shift, whenever that is. Everyone's saying it's like December 21st of this year. I don't know. The main reason why the human race will not be allowed to be part of the galactic community or know very much about it is due to the fact that we have a limited consciousness and we'll just create chaos if we travel in space. So know that there were 4th and 5th dimensional races that intervened directly in the affairs of humans for the purpose of not allowing an atomic war to take place between the superpowers of the US and the USSR when that was a thing. These higher dimensional beings actually walked the halls of the White House in this country and government buildings in other countries without ever being noticed. Antarctica is warming up faster than the rest of the world. It's now about 4 to 5 degrees warmer than it was in 1947. And remember, this info is from 2006, so it's probably much warmer now. So there's this large hole in the ozone layer over the continent of Antarctica. This hole is being caused mainly by the dimensional shift that's coming, which is allowing higher vibrations to enter the atmosphere, which is causing the Schumann resonance to rise at the moment. And it says here that the battle between the forces of light and dark is at its peak right now, and it's going to stay at its peak until the dimensional pole shift. The intent of the dark forces is to mainly destroy the human race by instigating humans to destroy themselves. This is the last stand for the dark forces in this dimension. So this book has a different view on sudden infant death syndrome. I know I talked about it in my Between Death and Life video and gave some truth on that, but this is what this book says on that. It says that when people die a sudden or violent death, their spirit is not settled and it's restless. So it was forced out of the body. So now the spirit of that person will come back, be born again, only to die, whether at birth or within 2 years after birth, just for the purpose of dying peacefully. Okay, so now no one person is more than a 50th cousin to any other person on this planet. Everyone in the human race is related, and everyone has the recessive homosexual gene. If it is recessive, the person does not have the homosexual desire, and if it is dominant, the person will have the desire to live that lifestyle. Homosexuality is not an accident or a true individual choice. It was created as part of the test of learning to love one another and allowing all people to live in harmony. There is no evil in homosexuality, and there never was. Evil is actually created by the arrogance and ego of those that judge, persecute, and condemn the homosexual. And when they judge, persecute, and condemn the homosexual, they fail the test of love. So there you have it. Yeah, all those people that are like on the streets carrying those signs, that, what is it, that being gay is a sin and that like God hates gays, it's completely untrue, and they've completely failed the test of love. So you clearly pick and choose what you want to believe and preach. And like I said before, why would a creator that is unconditional require conditions? Okay, so also it says here, prayer is talking to creator, but meditation is listening. So when you sit in silence and call creator into your presence, creator will talk to your spirit, even though you physically do not think you're hearing anything. Just know that your spirit is receiving creator's words, and they will enter your reality when it's necessary. And also, the definition of love is allowing everyone and everything in the universe to exist in harmony. When you become a master of your emotions, you have control over all emotions and feelings instead of them having control over you. Pay attention to your emotions and your feelings when you see something you do not like in another person, either a child, a friend, an enemy, or even something on television or in a movie. If it attracts your attention in any way or stirs your emotions or your inner feelings or upsets you, know that those emotions and feelings are already in you, or you would not recognize it in someone else, and it would not stir your emotions or push your buttons. That is how you begin to recognize your own emotions and your own feelings. And the more time you spend learning to recognize them and thinking about them, the more easily you'll be able to recognize them on deeper and even more personal levels within yourself. Okay, and also the ability to recognize your emotions and feelings will grow within you. So when you look at the big picture, you can see that humans have gained abilities to create a great society. The only problem is that humans are destroying themselves faster and faster as the technology grows. Humans refuse to take responsibility for their actions. They have not learned to love one another. They have armed themselves so that they can destroy their fellow men very efficiently. Humans have polluted everything, the land, the water, the air, and you fatally damage the generating capacity of the earth to replenish the oxygen that you breathe. So atomic waste is a time bomb of destruction waiting to happen. Even the gods that created you, the Nephilim, have abandoned you since you're on a self-destructive course. So for all those that have this deep fear of the world destroying itself by a great battle of Armageddon or the wrath of God, fear not. Humans are destroying themselves by their own actions without help from anybody. That is the reason why the experiment with two-stranded DNA is a short one, which is only 45,000 years long, and predetermined to be ended at the dimensional and pole shift that is soon to happen. This experiment proved that life in a humanoid physical form with only two-stranded DNA cannot exist very long without a connection to Creator or the Creator's sons. When life exists with a separate self-consciousness, it will self-destruct since it cannot see into the future. It works to satisfy its own selfish, immediate needs only. I can't believe I just lost my page. It cannot learn from its past since it cannot remember the lessons that it learned in the past. So now the Earth is seriously overpopulated by humans, refusing to control the world's birth rate and self-limit their numbers. Humans cannot see the damage they are doing by overpopulation. They're consuming everything on the planet to satisfy their numbers. The animal kingdom's being destroyed, since their natural habitats have been destroyed. The forests that generate 30% of the oxygen you breathe have practically all been destroyed, and the few remaining forests are now dying or burning. The oceans with their marine life are also dying, and farmland is disappearing as a result of humans needing more room to live. Also, now that you experienced and played with all these emotions for thousands of years, since you're on the wheel of incarnation, you should realize you have to become a master over all these emotions and feelings. When you look at the big picture, it should become obvious. Life is a test of emotions and feelings. The end result of the test is to learn to love one another and to allow things to exist in harmony, because love is the fabric and the vibration of the entire cosmos. You will live love, or you will learn how to love. If you lived love, you would not be here. Since you are here to still learn how to love. On Earth, it is the allowing of all people to live in harmony with each other, and it is the allowing of nature to live in harmony with itself, without humans disturbing the natural order. It is humans and nature living together in total harmony. You cannot ascend to a higher dimension until you learn what true love is and live it in your life. It does not matter if you believe this information or not, that is just the way it is. So there are some who will declare that Creator is punishing the world. And this is not true. It is important to know and realize that Creator does not possess any emotions. No wrath or anger or judgment. The only emotion that you could say Creator possesses is love. And there's a long chapter on current events, and that's the one I was going to be careful on mentioning, because there would be a lot of trigger words there. So all I'm going to say is the majority of crazy stuff going on in the whole planet, and mysterious things that just don't make sense, is due to those that control the strings. And no, it's not those that are in government. It's the ones that no one even knows who they are, which are the true puppet masters. That's all I'm going to say. Just buy the book from Rose Dog Books for $44 and read that information on your own time. So an interesting thing is the dark forces cannot go beyond the sixth dimension. By their very nature and vibration, they cannot exist in the higher dimensions. So that's good. The book says the reason we can't remember our past lives is because of the disassembling of the DNA that the Nephilim did when creating us, and also they disassembled a lot of the brain so that we can only use a tiny amount of it. And it says that the main isobar connection that was physically removed between the right lobe and left lobe of the brain took away the ability of the brain to adapt and evolve. But eventually Source allowed us to reconnect some of our links so that we could evolve more than the Nephilim ever planned, but we're still not where we should be in terms of DNA. But this will all be repaired after the dimensional shift, where the brain capacity will be completely fixed. So now I'm just going to define some terms. That's basically the review, but now I'm just going to define some terms from the glossary. So karma is explained in the books as an action that is not in harmony with universal law, which will require us to experience that same action in order to fully understand it. Light workers are those who are in the process of working to become masters by raising their vibration up to the vibration of light and reconnecting to Creator. Starseeds are highly evolved spiritual beings that come from the ancient father universes. Wanderers are composed of starseeds, highly evolved ascended masters, highly evolved members of the order of Melchizedek, true Melchizedeks, descendants of the ancient ones, and other spiritual beings that wander through the countless evolving sun universes, working with and in the evolving worlds. These are the adventure seekers of the spiritual realms. So that is the review, part 2, and the final part. I could share so much more, but this book is just too much. Just read it on your own. It'll definitely make your head hurt, which means I think your DNA is like changing. But I thought the book was perfect, and there's so much information that they probably could have included, but it's already multi-layered. It's already too much information, but I'm glad I finished it. Don't know what I'm gonna read next, but yeah, get it for yourself and you'll get so much more out of it than these videos.